what these people are mostly doing, these people walking around talking about behavior, these people with their body and brains talking about another human and their body and brain and what the other human is doing with their body and brain that they're seeing with their body and brain at speeds exceeding the beating of a heart. Mostly doing politics, helping people restrict and control and limit behavior and keeping those hormones limited at levels they consider reasonable limits, especially now with no abortions, unless you're in an abortion sanctuary city such as Seattle, Washington, where I haven't seen sex anyway for a long time. At least noticeable. Every once in a while you see someone in Woodinville kissing. Completely out of the ordinary. Everyone in Seattle is so respectful and so calm and relaxed. They probably do that stuff when they do it privately, in silence. Respecting what they're saying everyone needs to do is just calm down and relax and be mindful and then enjoy happiness. A stimulation reward system. Humans refuse to update. Nowadays, humans, and previously most likely, probably, are treated for their difficulty with their brain, with the feeling of good, the feeling of an emotion positive instead of a negative thought, a negative sensation. And then mental health declares them well. Occasionally with a pill, some medicine to boost the benefits of the body giving stimulation with the brain to their human energy. Health and medicine nowadays have less to do with due diligence unless you have cancer. Most notably when you're talking about the brain. Other than someone saying, okay, they're good, yeah, they seem happy, their behavior looks good, and they're doing what's expected a human would do who has what they describe as mental health. And so to return to the problem of psychology and duality, a problem of psychology, in other words, duality, explain when two humans interact with brain and body and world. Not only here in the United States of America, most obviously involving politics and activism and beliefs, but elsewhere in the world, where there's not English and not laws about suffering, death and dying and bullying. But where humans speak other languages and do different activities, a A problem with duality in world and psychology has to do not only with an agreement between countries to not have war and suffering, but a decision and work to explain to other people, other humans, what they're doing wrong, what they're achieving, what they're accomplishing, and what they're failing to learn, to not have suffering. Earth would be indoctrinated with one language, and there'd probably be no suffering until someone disagreed with what they were told and not explained with due diligence. And due diligence ends confusion. Currently, people with due diligence, the Pope, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, other spiritual leaders who are gurus and advocating for world peace and meditation, they prove what they do and achieve their goals. But their due diligence doesn't have very much, at least noticeable amounts of intelligence and complexity and brilliance and genius and work with other stuff, other books, other parts of knowledge other than religion, beliefs, and requirements to ignore. Rather than going, oh my gosh, learning about how to stop suffering with due diligence, involving psychology and psychiatry and neuroscience and technology and all the parts that people learn in a college. But very few ever describe other than what they know. A psychology problem with duality has so much more difficulty than the previous technology difficulty with war. Humans invent with no problem. There's nothing difficult. All they do is engineer. All they do is learn how to make. And all they have to do is just build, and maintain. Whereas with psychology and psychiatry and neuroscience and health and medicine and language and brain and body, there's so many different humans who have so many different styles and cultures and difficulties and limitations and explanations and excuses and solutions to the problems. Most people can't make sense of what's the bottom line. bottom line has to do with a lot of information humans refuse to accept and acknowledge. Arguing their emotions are uncontrollable, and they're frustrated, and they're confused, and they're angry, and they're sick and tired of it all. And so there's Russia and China, there's North Korea, there's Iran, there's all of these other countries who aren't a part of NATO. They have a different psychology, they have different religions, they have different beliefs, they have different psychiatry. They speak a different language, they do different behavior with their bodies. They practice dominance, they practice pacifism. And they don't understand. And they don't understand, and they don't understand, and they don't understand. Not necessarily involving evil, but mostly having to do with politics, safety and security. Primitive and indigenous parts of humans, compared to the complexity and the dynamics and the intelligence of the Western world and their quantum computers and their electric vehicles, and brilliance to limit their stimulation and work towards the goal of a reward for all humans, instead of the barbaric pig who eats meat and the dumb idiot who's a retard who talks and talks and talks. Eventually causing them to control the problem.